beautiful Oxnard, California. Nick Harris here with Nicole Hutchison, back for Training Camp Live. It is training camp time already. These guys are already getting into some 7-on-7 action. Let's take a look at what's going on out here on the field. So Dak Prescott running some things here with this first team, and a couple of things to keep an eye on here. You don't have CeeDee Lamb here at camp, right, Nicole? So you're looking at these depth wide receivers, Jalen Tolbert, Brandon Cooks, Kevontae Turpin, all of these guys looking to make their stamp here in Oxnard. As they put Turpin in motion, that was something we saw a lot last year. A little bit of a hesitation snap there. Got DeMarvion Overshown to bite a little bit. Yeah, Overshown back on the field yesterday after recovering from his torn ACL. Really good to see him back on the field. He said the butterflies were out as soon as he stepped on the field.
Yeah, I got a chance to actually talk to DeMarvion Overshown in the offseason, and he's feeling confident, man, ready to make this big year. 2024, a really special year from him.
And look at that grab there from Jalen Tolbert. You see that confidence growing between Dak Prescott and Jalen Tolbert. Nice out route there from Tolbert from the slot, and Dak put it right on the money. That's a big-time play for those two. They had a pretty good connection yesterday as well.
For sure. Yeah, he had a snag actually in the red zone yesterday. It's practice and day one practice. But when you talk about Jalen Tolbert, man, this is a guy that confidence is just really, really growing for him this offseason.
Love to see that from the guy donning the number 1 jersey now. Dak's looking around. He checks down to Jalen Brooks. This is another guy here in the depth of that wide receiver room looking to make a statement here in Oxnard. He had a couple of really good grabs yesterday and nice little drag route across the middle there from Brooks.
6 receptions only in 2023 for him. This is a guy that a lot of us have been really high on. You talk about the pressure that, or the opportunities that you have when CeeDee Lamb is not here. That's definitely someone that's taking advantage of it.
Now we got the second team out here, Cooper Rush playing quarterback. He's going to swing it out to the left side. That's a nice grab there from Cam Johnson, undrafted wide receiver from Northwestern. Had some really good opportunities in the Big Ten, played at Minnesota and finished his career with the Wildcats out in Evanston, Illinois. Really good grab there on the outside by Johnson. And now here's Cooper Rush again with this second team. You're seeing a little bit of the same guys on the defensive side of the ball. Right there, Damian Wilson is right there to make the tackle on Jalen Cropper. Is another one of these Jalens, as Patrick Walker likes to say, the law firm of Jalen, and Jalen.
He called him Jalen Cubed, actually, earlier. So, yeah, those 3 Jalens are going to be very special this season.
Now here in the running back room, we got Snoop Connor. Seeing just about every running back that you could possibly see here at this 7-on-7 period. Every snap you see a different guy. Here's Cooper Rush, quick snap out to the right side. He goes right back to Johnson, who bobbles it. That's Josh Butler there on the defense. Hey, this time last year, Josh Butler was brought in as a tryout from the XFL. Ended up making a really good impression in that tryout. They signed him for the rest of the training camp. He ended up finding a practice squad spot, and he's building a lot of confidence, especially with the special teams group. That's a really good pass break up there from him. Now you're starting to see some of these rookies cycle in. Maris Leofau, 35, right there in the middle, the 3rd-round pick out of Notre Dame. As here's Rush. Another quick throw across the middle of the field. There's Jalen Brooks fighting off some arm tackles, even though they can't technically bring them down. But a good play there for Brooks.
Jalen Brooks, you're starting to see that confidence in his route running, him paying attention so close to detail to every little single thing in his route running. And you got to love to see it, especially a guy who's looking to make that year 2 jump.
Yeah, and that's big for his confidence. I think coming in last year as a 7th-round pick, didn't have a whole lot that he was able to prove out of South Carolina, but he's doing it here so far in year 2 as first team back on the field. Dak Prescott, check down. Once again, that's going to be to Rico Dowdle, who makes a tough grab with Eric Kendricks draped over his back. Rico Dowdle, last year, he was involved in that RB2 conversation. He got a lot of playing time last year, a lot of carries, more so than any other point in his career. But now this year, he's competing for that running back by committee spot. And now Ezekiel Elliott is in the backfield. He motions out wide. We saw a lot of this the first time that Ezekiel Elliott was a Dallas Cowboy. Now this time in the number 15, Dak Prescott back in the shotgun. He had a couple of guys open, but he checks down to Kevontae Turpin. You may have seen Tyron Billy Johnson right in front of us. He was definitely open too, but Dak took the safer option, and Turpin gets about 7-8 yards out of it.
I'm looking to see Turpin really get more involved in this offense last year. I know they had some plans for him. Obviously, special teams took over, but I really want to see him get more opportunities in offense.
Yeah, and you saw his confidence growing as the year went on last year, too. His first full year in an offensive system. Now, here's our first look at Trey Lance battling for this backup quarterback spot here at camp. He's taking a couple of looks. He looks right, he looks left, trying to make a throw over to Brandon Cooks. Cooks could not make the grab. That was Nashawn Wright that was in coverage there, the long, lengthy Nashawn Wright out of Oregon State. He's in the mix of a backup cornerback spot, too. You have Kalen Carson, the rookie. Israel Mukwamu's in that situation as well. The backup cornerback room, definitely going to be an interesting one to follow here in Oxnard as well.
And you also got a chance to see him take some first-team reps yesterday as well in day one practice, but love to see how he's coming along this offseason.
You see Micah Parsons there playing a little off-ball linebacker. You can't rush the passer in this setting, so he's going to have to get into his pass coverage next here. But here's Trey Lance again. Looking left, he's going to check it down to Kavontae Turpin. And there is Parsons there for the quote-unquote tackle. Now tapping back into Oxnard, California for some 11-on-11 action. You won't see any tackling or any physical play here. It's still early in camp. These guys are just still in the install phases of getting everything going. Here's a handoff to the left side to Ezekiel Elliott and immediately blown up. Offensive lineman on the ground, that's going to be Brock Hoffman. He's competing for that center spot. He comes up a little ginger. You got to hope he's all right, too, with the center competition.
For sure. Cooper Beebe is coming for that center position as well, so that's something that you certainly don't want to see coming from Brock Hoffman at all.
Yeah, Hoffman grabbing his right side, but he's staying in the huddle. He's going to go back to the center position. I mean, this is a guy who's been breeding toughness over the course of the past couple of years in Dallas, but now he's back on the line for another 11-on-11 rep here. Rico Dowdle in the backfield. They're going to play action to him. Dak Prescott, he's looking deep, and then he checks down to Dowdle. It may have been just outside of his reach. He put a paw on it but couldn't quite grab it.
I don't know if you checked out Mozzie Smith on that play, but wow, the way that he's actually handling double teams this training camp, I mean, you love to see it. Obviously, Mike McCarthy really confident in the way that he's grown and put on some more weight this offseason. So really excited to see what he brings in training camp.
Yeah, Mozzie's definitely going to be an interesting one to follow as camp goes on. Mike McCarthy said earlier today that he's getting close to the weight that they want him at. He showed up to camp looking pretty good off that offseason shoulder surgery. Here's another rep here. It's a handoff inside to Ezekiel Elliott. And a couple of defensive linemen getting in the mix there as well. Chauncey Golston's in the middle, Micah Parsons as well. These 11-on-11 reps, they'd really allow for both sides of the ball to be able to install and get used to seeing some things. I mean, it's been a while since these guys have taken full-on reps in a football atmosphere, and especially with a new defensive system under Mike Zimmer. Really important for these guys to get some symmetry and chemistry going. As Dak Prescott now under center, you see Jake Ferguson motioning as an ump back. It's going to be a play action to the right side. Dak Prescott, what a diving interception! That's DaRon Bland. Mr. Pick Six, how about that? Diving across the middle of the field and making that grab. Hey, Pick Six Bland, he might be back to break that record once again, huh?
Listen, Mike McCarthy was so excited just hearing get asked about DaRon Bland and what he can do this year under Al Davis. And again, Mike Zimmer as the new defensive coordinator. And look, you see things like this, right? I mean, DaRon Bland he's got another big year waiting for him, man.
Yeah, he's high-fiving just about everybody in the city of Oxnard. He's a little bit more of a celebrity this time around than he was last year. He signed a lot of autographs yesterday. A lot more fans know his name this time around than they did last year. That's a big-time play from the local product out of Fresno State. And now the second team up, Cooper Rush at quarterback. He's going to take a deep shot. That's to Racy McMath. McMath could not make the grab. That's an interception from Josh Butler. We were talking about him earlier, the XFL edition of last training camp. He's able to go up and make that grab. There's that confidence that everybody is talking about from Josh Butler when it comes to his depth role on this team.
Wow.
Now Cooper Beebe is here at center as well, seeing him taking some reps. Talk about this center competition. This is definitely important reps for him. Cooper Rush play action. He's going to take another deep shot. Maybe some grabbing going on there on Corey Crooms. Kalen Carson, I think he would have gotten flagged for that in a real game. And there's the flag on the field. That's why we got the refs out here, right?
I don't know if you missed that as well about Tyler Guyton, man, going one-on-one against Sam Williams. I mean, the way that he just handled him. That's going to be a cool battle as well with him and Chuma Edogo at that left tackle spot.
Yeah, and those are two guys talking about Tyler Guyton and Sam Williams. Yeah. Both of those guys trying to take on a big role this year. Sam Williams seeing Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler Jr. exit the building. It's going to give him increased opportunities, and then obviously Tyler Guyton trying to stamp that starting left tackle spot. As Cooper Rush now still here as a second team, getting some more reps in. Motion over is David Durden, freshly on the field off of a torn ACL last training camp. He's going to swing it over to Durden, and that's going to be a grab for a gain of about 2 or 3. Really good story there from Durden. He was rehabbing his ACL with DeMarvion Overshone and John Stevens Jr. All 3 of those rookies, all 3 had left torn ACLs during training camp or preseason. They were all able to rehab together, and they were guys that didn't even know each other going in, and by the end of it, Durden was John Stevens was a groomsman for David Durden's wedding. So really cool to see all those guys to be able to come together.
Nick, I got to ask you this. You see obviously Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe on the offensive line right now. Do you think there's a world where Mike Solari is confident in 2 rookies on this offensive line, especially going into a year like this?
Yeah, you look over to this left side. This is a big play for Tyler Guyton to be able to create some separation there. But that's a good point, because you look at these 2 guys, yes, they don't have experience, but I think if they could prove that they could be physical enough to be able to play on an NFL offensive line week in and week out and have that durability of a 17-game season, then I think you have to be comfortable with it at the end of the day. The first team is now back out on the field. Brock Hoffman taking over at center, Chuma Edoga at left tackle. Mike McCarthy said earlier today that they're going to work those guys in when talking about those rookies on the offensive line, and it'll make sense whenever the pads come on. Micah Parsons may have jumped there, but Dak Prescott, he's going to take a shot over the middle, and Kavontae Turpin with a really nice grab on Jordan Lewis. He was arm fighting him the whole way. Really physical play, and he was able to make a one-handed catch as he was falling to the ground. Really good play there from Kavontae Turpin.
Jordan Lewis saying in the press conference when they first arrived off the bus that he's hoping to obviously get more opportunities under this new defense with Mike Zimmer. So we're looking obviously to see him do a lot more this year.
4 wide receiver set: Cooks, Tolbert, Turpin, and Brooks. Turpin's going to motion out to the left side, and Dak's going to roll right. He's going to try to find Cooks, and he got him. Perfect grab there on the right sideline from Brandon Cooks. That'll be a gain of about 4 or 5. We saw a lot of that quick stuff with Brandon Cooks, as whenever they were trying to build his confidence last year, they started getting those quick passes across the middle of the field or to the sidelines, and you saw that really help Brandon Cooks' confidence as the season went on.
And it helps when now you're heading into a year where you've already been under the system, and now you understand the system. It really just you take advantage of that.
And there's Luke Schoonmaker on the reception. Quick little reception out to the right side. Schoonmaker, the second-year man out of Michigan, second-round pick in 2023. Battled injury throughout training camp this time last year, but this year healthy and looking to make an opportunity to stamp himself as a solidified second tight end option behind Jake Ferguson.
Heard from Luke actually at Media Day, and he said that Jake Ferguson has really set the bar for this tight end room, and he's just so excited just to kind of lean on that and only just build on what he produced in 2023, looking towards what Jake Ferguson produced in 2023 as well.
Here's Dak looking over the middle of the field. He's got Tyron Billy Johnson, the product of Oklahoma State. He's been around the league for a little bit. He's been with the Chargers. He's been with the Raiders. He's been with a couple of teams. He was even with the Cowboys this time last year at training camp. And oddly enough, if you look at the entire roster, Tyron Billy Johnson is the one with the 3rd most receiving yards out of all of the wide receivers on the depth chart behind Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb.
And he was released this offseason, brought back, and now he's looking for an opportunity to land a spot on this roster.
Here's Trey Lance under center, and that's going to be Deuce Vaughn in the backfield at running back. Or excuse me, that is Nathaniel Pete, the undrafted running back out of Missouri, and Pete's going to be the one to take on the check down, but he drops it. And that's tough for Trey Lance as well, trying to build confidence, get those little receptions. He needs his guys to come through on the back end as well. And looking at this offensive line set at left guard, you see Nathan Thomas, the 7th-round pick out of Louisiana Lafayette. He's a guy that's going to be moved around on this offensive line quite a bit here in Oxnard as they try to find exactly what his placement is. Yeah, as Trey Lance moving some things around under center. Lance hands off to the left side. That's to Pete. Pete making a couple of guys miss and will squeeze through. Nathaniel Pete, he was a backup at the University of Missouri last year. but this year coming in as the only running back addition in the rookie class, added just a day after the draft.
And Peyton Hendershot absolutely getting blown up by Buddy Johnson on the edge. You know how the Cowboys love to use those tight ends in pass pro. But, I mean, this is a year that Peyton Hendershot needs. He cannot afford to have plays like that happen.
Here's Lance once again checking it down. He looked downfield, but he checked it back down to the right side and relied on the running back coming out of the backfield. You would like to see Trey Lance push it downfield just a little bit more, but maybe that confidence will grow as we get going into camp. This second, third team defense kind of buckling some things down. You see a lot of undrafted rookies. Amani Johnson out of Nevada, Julius Wood out of East Carolina holding down the safety position. Trey Lance, he's going to motion out to the right side. He's got his guy on the right side. That's Racy McMath there on the sideline. Josh Butler in defense. But that's going to do it for the 11-on-11 period. Thank you for watching Training Camp Live. We'll be back throughout this time here in Oxnard. We're just getting started.